Alright, here we go with our final round. And so we're on the draw with this hand. We have all one drops and one land. I mean, it has to be a keep, right? It can cast every card in our hand and have one land. So, yeah, this hand is actually pretty good. I mean, Ethereal Armor is just amazing. We have Umbras, we have Boggles, like a land is a good draw. Pretty much, if we draw another land, we're set. If we don't, we could still easily win. And yeah. So Eldrazi Temple, I mean, if we're up against Eldrazi-tron, that's probably pretty good for this hand. Core Spirit Dancer, probably one of the cards we don't really want to draw at this point. Like we do want another land, because without another land we're kind of slowly just boggling it. Alright, so Thalia pretty much beats us with this hand, which is certainly a thing. Not a very common thing though, but now we just can't cast anything in our hand until we draw land. And Displacer is whatever. I mean, in theory, we can just ignore Displacer since all our guys have Hexproof and can't cast anything. Opponent not attacking with Thalia. It's really, I mean, we can't do anything about it in combat. And we draw land, so we kind of have a chance again. We don't have Path anymore because our opponent just took it, so we're going to Spirit Dance and then hope we can get something started on a Boggle. The problem is we're kind of too far behind at this point, especially when we get strangled. And yeah, at 9 we can still only just cast one thing a turn and not actually trade with anything, which means we is dead. So up against Death and Taxes, we're gonna want our removal. As you saw, the creatures like Thoughtnot and Thalia are definitely must kills. Beyond that, Stony Silence would actually be okay as a one-of just to shut off Aether Vials. I kind of enjoy doing that, is bringing in one Stony Silence to shut off Aether Vials. And then Ley Lines are also not that terrible against Thoughtnuts and Tide Hollow Scullers. So I probably don't want all the Ley Lines because they're not that fantastic in this matchup, but possibly like one or even none would be fine, honestly. I'm not a huge fan of Leyline though, so SRAMs are probably not worth it in this matchup. Spider Umbras and Hyena Umbras are fine, I suppose. The issue with Hyena Umbra is the first strike isn't going to be very relevant on a Boggle, and like a Core Spirit Dancer is just super vulnerable to being blinked anyways, so probably looking to get rid of Hyena Umbras. The thing about Core Spirit Dancer is it's going to be fine to play it and then load up a hexproof creature, but you probably don't want to put enchantments on it except in the most dire circumstances. So probably something like this. Maybe more Ley Lines is good. Yeah. Also Spirit Link is probably fine as well. And Spider Umbra, I mean Spider Umbra is fine because it blocks Flicker Wisps. Could also cut a Spider Umbra. as well. So something along like these lines, or if you want more ley lines like that, but you probably want all the removal. And Hyena, Umbra, and SRAM don't look great in this matchup. Alright, so this is a great hand. Have a Boggle and a Core Spirit Dancer, which is definitely what we want. Don't want just a Core Spirit Dancer by itself, that's for sure, because Flicker Wisp or Eldrazi Displacer can just blink it and make all the auras fall off. And fetch out a Temple Garden, because we're gonna get Ghost Quartered at some point probably, so would like to not have 0 basics if possible. And there's Thalia, which we do want to just get rid of. Kind of annoying since Core Spirit Dancer was ready to draw some cards, although we don't really have that many cards that we can cast with Core Spirit Dancer. Like, can't cast Daybreak Coronet for multiple reasons at this point, so just the Spirit Link. So Leonin Arbiter would have been a huge blowout there, blowing up our Temple Garden. Fortunately, our opponent does not have it. And draw into Spider Umbra, which is one of the best draws since we can actually cast it off of a forest. And another great draw in Rancor. And our opponent just doesn't have a way to kill the Core Spirit Dancer, and obviously they don't have many ways at all ever to kill a Bogle. Oh, and Ethereal Armor, also a great draw. Land, also a great draw. So, huge Bogle, and yeah, what are you gonna do about that? Flicker Wisp does nothing. Eldrazi Displacer does nothing. Hexproof. Turns out Hexproof is pretty good. Alright, Thought-Knot does very little at this point. And opponent attacks into our fantastic reach first strike thing and just concedes. That's fine. I mean, they could have blinked it. Yeah, doesn't really matter. So on the draw, unkeepable hand here, unfortunately. I mean, Boggles does mulligan a lot, and no lander, Maul there, and pretty poor hand here, so not too happy about that. Bottom the Horizon Canopy, obviously. And Glade Cover Scout, so I mean, we do have 2 nice removal spells here, so if we find a way to beef up this here Glade Cover Scout, we're going to be in a good spot. So Spirit Link isn't the worst draw. I want to cycle this Horizon Canopy as soon as possible, so I'm not even going to Spirit Link. This is nice too because it leaves up Path and Dismember, which could be relevant depending on what our opponent has. I mean, this is going to be their big turn here once they hit 3 mana and have an Aether Vial on 2, so having my removal for something like a Tide Hollow Sculler is pretty good here, which is what our opponent has. And if we had have tapped out, I mean, like, played a tap Temple Garden and Spirit Link, we would have just got both our removal spells got. But now we get to at least return 1. And now we could Path in Response. The issue with Tide Hollow Sculler is that it doesn't have the new rules attached. So if it exiles if you kill the Tide Hollow Sculler while this ability is on the stack, it will permanently exile a card from your hand. So we're just gonna let it take the path, because now we have a path waiting, whereas if we had a path, it would have permanently removed our Spirit Link, which we would not be too happy about. And here we're once again just planning to pop our Horizon Canopy on our opponent's turn. And we're not in the worst spot for how bad our opening hand was. I mean, if our opponent's hand is bad, we have a chance of just drawing Daybreak Coronet and winning the game. And Wasteland Strangler is not that threatening because we have Hexproof. And hey, Quartz Spirit Dancer isn't the worst card here. I mean, if our opponent burned this Wasteland Strangler without actually having a follow-up, like a blinker, I mean, they probably do, if they're just playing this Wasteland Strangler. The issue is we don't really have any other options at this point. And yeah, Flicker Wisp is a huge issue. Of course, we're not going to equip up the Spirit Dancer expecting our opponent to have something like this. And considering offering the trade to the Flicker Wisp, but I think our best chance is to draw something big for this Glade Cover Scout. And I mean, that's what Boggles does, right? It invalidates all of these random things, in theory. And turns out our opponent does actually have a way to kill Boggles in Zealous Persecution, which completely wrecks us and completely kills us. So yeah, definitely good in that spot. Certainly wasn't expecting our Hexproof guys to get got, but they in fact did, and we lost.